This is Amanda Celine Miller, the voice of Boruto and Sailor Jupiter, and you are listening to A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live.
Welcome to the show that gives you all the news, views, and opinions in the world of gaming. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extras Select Start with your host, Xavier Josiah. Power up and game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. I hope everybody is having a great week. I am just counting down to the days of my birthday, which will be Monday, January the 14th, which also is the birthday of LL Cool J, one of the Mount Rushmore of hip-hop, if you will. So I always enjoy the fact that we share the same birthdays and everything. We don't exactly share the same swag or the same success, if you will, but I'm honored to have a birthday in the same day as one of my favorite hip-hop artists of all time, the legendary and classic, also an actor as well. But, you know, people forget that dude is one of hip-hop's greatest. And I wish this new generation of hip-hop artists would appreciate what cats like that have brought to the table back then. I mean, I wish, in fact, that hip-hop artists today would even bring back love hip-hop ballads, because I'm sorry, like, we need more of that. I think a lot of the artists today are too afraid to really show feeling or show expression in that level that we did back in the day with, like, Heavy D and LL Cool J, even Cool G Rap to some extent, Big Daddy Kane and all them. Like, they weren't afraid to really show it out because they know what they were getting back. So, you know, shout out to him. I know he's going to have a phenomenal birthday. One of my biggest wishes was that I was able to actually go to one of his parties, because I know his parties was lit like crazy, and I know they're probably lit like crazy every year. So, and he's continuing to have success out there. So, I've always wanted to be celebrate and share a cake with him on that birthday and see how he rolled. Because, woo, I can only imagine how his parties was, and I'm pretty sure his parties are still like that now. But I digress. I'm looking forward to actually checking out some games that'll be releasing next week. Maybe some games that are releasing this week, and we're going to talk about this, but also some more news. Let's get underway with some actually really good news this week. You thought that Spider-Man was going to not have anything else towards it? Well, Insomniac Games have announced that we should expect a new update soon. Now, this is not entirely it's a big deal, but not something really big that we're going to look forward to in a sense that it's going to be new gameplay or new DLC or anything. It's just something really cool and special that we should see when we play the game of Spider-Man once again. With the release of the new Fantastic Four returning to Marvel Comics and everything that's happening with this merger of all these new studios and everything, Fox and everything, and it seems to be more evident that this is coming to fruition with the connection with Marvel and all their licenses and stuff coming into Marvel Studios and Disney or whatnot. The Fantastic Four is coming back. And if you guys remember the Fantastic Four, during the Secret Wars, if you're a comic book reader, you know that in the Secret Wars comics, Secret Wars 2, they kind of, went away after the events of that book. And because of the discrepancies of the licenses and the contracts and everything, Marvel Studios and Marvel Comics decided to ice them away, along with there's some cases the sort of kind of the X-Men too. They did some things with the X-Men as well, which I felt was really bad. They tried to make the Inhumans the new X-Men, and that just didn't work for people. It just did not work at all. People weren't feeling it. We were X-Men from the get-go, so that got killed really quickly. And with the announcements and everything that's going on, we're getting closer to the merger, if you will, the acquisition of the Marvel characters back into the studios, which makes Marvel Studios the opportunity to now use all of those characters that they couldn't use before. Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Submariner, I believe, is in that case too. Silver Surfer will be in there, and much more. And it'll be very interesting to see what they do. Well, if you remember, they announced that Marvel Ultimate Alliance exclusively to the Nintendo Switch. I can't stress that enough, how big of a deal that is, which includes a lot of the characters from the entire universe. A lot of the characters that we've seen before, and then some new characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy, some other characters as well. But they put Wolverine at the forefront of that, showing that the X-Men will be in there, and that's a huge deal because the X-Men were from Fox, and we haven't seen that before. That also just made a big sign that the Marvel merger was happening. Well, now Insomniac is doing it because Insomniac Games has announced that they will add the 4 Freedom Plaza. A lot of people say the Baxter Building. It's not the Baxter Building. I'm pretty sure that's the 4 Freedom Plaza, which came after the Baxter Building. The Baxter Building was the first building that they were living in and, had the laboratories and all this stuff and doing their experiments. They had to move out of the Baxter Building because of their experiments, and they end up buying and, owning their own building that they could do lab experiments on and everything and do all types of things, and called the 4 Freedom Plaza, which is the synonymous building with the 4 in it. That building will be in the Spider-Man game, PS4. That doesn't mean that the Fantastic Four will be on there, but much like the Avengers Tower and the Wakanda Embassy, it'll be a part of New York because it's always been a part of New York, and I think that's an awesome tribute to the Fantastic Four. Also, one of Stan Lee's original creations, and Jack Kirby's original creations was the Fantastic Four. So I'm looking forward to that update. I can't wait to see it, and it's going to allow people to come back in, just to swing around, to look for it, and to take pictures and photos of it there. So, I mean, that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. After that, I don't know at this case. I don't know if they're ever going to make any more updates for Spider-Man, or are they going to go on to making Spider-Man 2? Because we know that it's coming. They have to, after with the Miles Morales thing and the success of Into the Spider-Verse. They absolutely got to do it. It's rather that, or they're going to put Miles Morales as a DLC pack and Hair Surprises with that. I really hope that's the case. That and a sequel. I want them all in this case. It was awesome. By the way, I was reading Game Informer, speaking of which, and they have their best of 2018, a way more detailed, elaborate one than we have because they've been doing it for years as well. Probably longer than what we were doing it, but they made some of the one of the categories is like the best characters in video games, and Peter Parker was in there, and I totally agree. And you really do got to separate, and people often do separate Spider-Man from Peter Parker because they do come off as two different people. When he's Spider-Man, he's a little bit more comical, carefree based and such, and Peter Parker is a little bit more calm, cool, subtle, but also he is the symbol of altruism. And there's a much different case when they did that. And Yuri Lowenthal did a great job expressing that and making the difference between the two. Whereas Spider-Man, when he puts on the mask, he's a little bit more courageous. He's still altruistic, but he's more action-based. Peter is more almost philosophical based in a sense, just from my opinion, but his actions and ways are just trying to give back. He had an uncle. His uncle pretty much was the nicest guy he's ever known, and one of the bravest guys and most kind-hearted guys he's ever known. He likes to emulate that same character, and I've always liked the fact that he did that. He lived up to make his Uncle Ben proud from that point. So he emulates that side. That alone, to me, is a superhero in itself. So Peter Parker is a phenomenal character. And when you play Spider-Man, in any format, whether it's video game, movie, even the comics, you have to contrast the two together and you have to make Peter Parker just as good as you make Spider-Man. Spider-Man is almost easy to make and do as a character. Peter Parker is a whole other thing, because when you get into the world of Peter Parker, he goes through a whole different type of story. So you get two different stories within Spider-Man, and I think that's what everybody loved about it. When he's Peter Parker, you get a different story there. When he's Spider-Man, it's a whole new story there. So I like that they acknowledged that on there, and it was really cool that they did. But there is no telling as to when that DLC will be coming, but they are announcing it's coming. I got to pay more attention to what Marvel is doing in their comic book world, because they are celebrating a Fantastic Four week or whatever coming soon. It could come out the end of this week. It could come out maybe next week very soon, but stay tuned for more of that, and just keep an eye on your DLC if you haven't followed it yet. So that is with that situation. Going into the world of Nintendo, Yoshi's Crafted World is expected to launch on March 29th. The trailer is out. I've actually seen the Japanese trailer before I actually got a chance to actually see the story trailer there, but I finally got to see the story trailer, and it's pretty cute. What you expect from any Mario-based game. And the story here shows that Kamek, one of the enemies of Mario, and Baby Bowser, Bowser's the newest youngest kid of Bowser, there apparently seems to be the two main bad guys of this particular story, and it has them looking to steal what it looks like is like a tree that is an egg-shaped infinity stones, which gets spread out throughout different lands, and those lands are different stages that you're going to be encountering as one of the Yoshis, and there appears to be different color Yoshis in here too. So think of this as maybe, I would say, Zelda in the Four Swords kind of thing, maybe with a 2D side scrolling style format here. And it's kind of, this is not like Yoshi Yarn or Yoshi, I forgot the other one it was when he was like a ball of yarn sort of kind of. It was right. This time the Yoshis, everybody in there has the texture of a stuffed animal pretty much this time around. So there's a different art form and a different art style in this one, but some very familiar aspects that you would expect from a Yoshi game. So that should be coming out very soon. Again, March 29th is the key. The Infinity Stone thing is funny because I'm noticing this is the second time I've seen this in a Mario game. Mario Tennis Aces also had a story mode where they had a racket that looks like it's paying homage to the Infinity Gauntlet. The racket itself is a gold type of detailed racket with the ability to place 4 or 6 stones in there. So there's no way in hell they can't tell me that was influenced by Infinity Wars or Infinity Gauntlet or whatever like that. So I thought that was pretty funny that they did it that way in there. But, I'm looking forward to this. This should be a really good game coming out, as well as two other games that will be coming out for the Switch tomorrow, which if you're listening to this is Thursday. If you're listening to this on Friday, it's out today. And that is Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, which was on the Wii U. Again, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't get a chance to play it. Now you will. I will most likely pick this up. As to whether it be this week, tomorrow for me to review it next week, I'm not sure. I'll keep that in play, but eventually it will be reviewed and played sooner than later. I can tell you that. Also, a game that I've already played but will not be reviewing is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Both of them will be coming out tomorrow. Now, with Tales of Vesperia, the reason why I'm not going to repurchase that game is because I needed to be honest with myself, and I'm not going to purchase every single game that comes out just because I've owned it. I have to enjoy. I now am at a stage where, like, I'm going to enjoy if I'm going to play a game, I'm going to enjoy it from start to finish. I purchased Tales of Vesperia, which is a beautiful game and a fun game. It is slightly fun. The last time I played that game and owned the game was on the Xbox 360, on the days when I actually owned an Xbox. And the reason why I stopped owning the Xbox is because I stopped playing games like that on the Xbox. It was like no point for me. It was at this point I figured I just had an Xbox just to have an Xbox. And although they have games for people who are into the genres at the end, like FPS games and action games that are like panned from the rear view, so to speak, like Gears of War and all the stuff, and then they have some other, some sort of action RPG games. I mean, they have their own niche for Xbox, and there are Xbox fans that are like it, but they don't cater. There's something about it that doesn't cater to everybody with that system, which allowed it to collect dust at the end of the day, and me just trading it off because I was just on my PlayStation and PS Vita or PSP or whatever, or Nintendo DS at the time, whatever was available. I was just on those games a lot more because I just felt that they were more entertaining and fun. Just me personally. But Tales of Vesperia was it was probably one of the games I played the most in the game. I didn't finish it. For one thing, there's a lot of hours needed to be played for this game. It's a lot of dialogue going on there. I mean, tons of dialogue. As you going through, the forest and everything, there's a ton of dialogue there. So you really got to be into this game in order to play it. And I know there's a great fan base for it, and deservedly so. I've even watched the movie, the anime movie for Tales of Vesperia, and ended up falling asleep on that one too. I mean, it's just something about this game I can't get into. And at the same time, I will praise the game. It is a good game to play. It's a beautifully drawn and designed game. Character design is phenomenal, everything. I just never play it. And I feel like if I get this game, I'm only getting it just to get it. There's probably going to be no intention of me actually beating this game like I did with Breath of the Wild or, Bayonetta or any of the games that I've played, any of the 70 games that I've played on that system. So if you're a Tales of Vesperia fan, and you should be to some extent, I would definitely say it's an RPG action game. Not the best RPG action game I've ever played. I think that's what it comes down to. There's some things that I didn't like, that just the flow of it just didn't get for me. But it doesn't mean it's not a good game for others. So if you are a Tales of Vesperia fan, it's coming out tomorrow for the Nintendo Switch. You could pick it up and go. You can play it at home. It's all good on there for either that or Super Mario. If I'm picking between the two, I'm definitely playing Super Mario Brothers Deluxe because I've never played that game before. I heard it was really good and a remake, and I never played it before. So unlike other people who may have, the few people that have played it on the Nintendo on the Wii U, the thing is that if you played Mario Odyssey, this is probably just going to be another Mario game, because if you played Odyssey, if you haven't played Odyssey yet, and you don't own Super Mario Deluxe, I'm going to tell you now, even before me ever playing Super Mario Deluxe, go out of your way to get Odyssey first. Or maybe not. Maybe get this game first or get both, but play Super Mario Deluxe first, because once you play Super Mario Odyssey, it is the ultimate of all of them. It is the ultimate Mario game of all of them. I know people got their favorites, but I'm sorry, what they did with Super Mario Odyssey is so awesome. So awesome there. But if you're a Mario fan, like most people are, Super Mario Brothers Deluxe should be another addition to your collection. Absolutely so. Let's talk Stan Lee. Our beloved comic book pope passed away, shortly in Veterans Day, if you guys remember that. They have been doing tributes nonstop since, and it's going to continue here. He's going to be in the edition of all the Marvel movies that I believe that is coming out. That's including Captain Marvel, which is scheduled to come out very soon on March 8th, which I'm setting up in A.C.M.G. Philly, gathering to see that movie. Avengers Endgame as well. And Spider-Man Far From Home. He should be in all three of those movies because he did extra cameos for those movies. So do expect that as well. And you want to expect him in the new update patch that is coming soon for World of Warcraft. They're known for doing tributes before, and this is no different. They're doing a tribute to Stan Lee on this one as well. So be on the lookout for update 8.1.5, which is a patch in the public test realm, which adds a character named Stanley, like originally Stanley, Stanley, which in fact is his real name. His actual real name is Stanley Lieber, it's Stanley Lieber. But his stage name is Stan Lee, of course, and he will be on there. That's what they named it. But it turns out it will be a thin man, gray hair, with sunglasses, saying Excelsior. So if you catch that, if you get that update, you will see that on there. This is not the first time that World of Warcraft has ever put anything on there of that. Blizzard, I believe, has put in... By the way, I do need to see that movie. I haven't seen that movie at all. I heard mixed reviews on it, but I'll be checking it out soon. I believe it's on Hulu now. But I digress. The last time World of Warcraft has paid a major tribute to somebody was the legendary actor comedian Robert Williams when he died. If you guys know or don't know, Robin Williams was in fact a huge gamer, a big fan of Zelda, so much so he even named his daughter Zelda. So, and they used to play. There is some video footage out there of him and his daughter playing with the Nintendo DS, or it was Nintendo DS or the 3DS. It was one of those game systems. But he was an avid gamer. It's one of the reasons why I really truly love Robin Williams. Plus, he was a phenomenal actor. One of the rare actors. Him and John Lithgow, one of the rare actors that can do comedic, theatrical movies as well as comedic movies and make them both work. Like you feared them and you loved them at the same time. You don't get too many actors who can really do it that well. And Robin Williams was phenomenal. Plus, I was a big Mork and Mindy fan too. So, so there we go with that. So be on the lookout for that if you are a World of Warcraft fan. For me, going back to the Nintendo Switch and going back to fighting games, very interesting thing here. Blaze Blue or BlazBlue, as my good friend Elijah McGinnon always puts it. BlazBlue Central Fiction Special Edition is appearing in the eShop in Japan. I do have a Japan account, so I get to see some things, and they usually show some early things that are coming out before it comes out, before the U.S. eShop actually premieres. So I get to see what they're going to have. A lot of what they have, like I always mentioned before, a lot of what the Japan version has, will be having shortly afterwards. Like, they just get it a day early because of the time difference. But there are some things that they don't have in there, but it's not as much as what it used to be like in the 90s, where like there was a lot of imported games in the 90s, but now we get everything. We virtually get everything. And it looks like, so chances are, if you see it on the Nintendo Japan site, we're definitely going to get it. There's a 90% chance we're going to get it in a US eShop as well. So that is coming out. The interesting, significant thing about this was the game that came out for the PlayStation 4 with no fanfare, with no hype, nothing. It just came out of the blue. I had no idea that this game even existed, that a new BlazBlue game existed. This is like one of their Arc System Works' most popular franchises. And it just came out cold, quietly, nothing. And even furthermore, it stayed for like $59.99 forever up until now. If you have a PlayStation Plus account and our yearly subscription, thank you to my brother-in-law for the Christmas gift and a birthday gift. You actually got to see that it is now for $23.99. So the irony of this is that I've been waiting to get this game under a smaller price because I was kind of pissed off that they never advertised this game. And I'm like, wait, this was at the time when Guilty Gear Zard 2 came out. And this came out shortly afterwards. And right about the time, I think, when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, and I'm like, this thing popped up. So I was really mad at it. I'm like, this thing's been out for a while. They haven't like put this thing on sale yet. Now it's on sale for $23.99 on PlayStation Plus. Problem is that like it's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, so I'd rather get it on there. And it's coming out on it's coming out in February. I believe February 7th is scheduled to come out, so I'm going to get it on there and then finally review this game on there. But if you are a fan of that one on a PlayStation and you got it on a Switch and you want to take it with you, now's your chance. You're going to be able to get it there. And this is a special edition version, which means I'm assuming that all of the DLC that was out in the other version of the PlayStation will be all together for this package for one. So this is actually a great deal. So technically, if that is the case, which usually is when it comes on the Nintendo Switch and it says special edition, that means all of the DLC will be involved in it for the most part, because everything that I have special edition now came with with literally everything. So I'm assuming that with that said, it's still going to technically be $23.99 with all the DLC that you get, because all the DLC is usually like $4.99, $5.99, and you add all that together for one price. That's actually awesome. So I'm going to wait to get that on the Nintendo Switch, and I'll more than likely review it there as well. So, speaking of Arc System Works, I can't believe I actually missed out on this and just recently seen this till now. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which is a fighting game based on a popular RPG. Arc System Works is working on that and teaming up with Side Games to come up with this absolutely god-awful, beautiful looking fighting game. The detail in this thing is outstanding. It literally is anime coming to life, and you're at the helm of the controls of this, much like you were with Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball FighterZ, and hopefully Kill la Kill when that comes out and finally develops up. It looks absolutely awesome. They have a trailer out that came out in December, I believe. Now, the thing is, it looks like an early version is still in development because the animation and framework still looks a little bit off, just a little bit. There's some times when the frame rate looks like it's in 60, or right now it looks like it's in 30, and it's just some of the animations is cut off. So I don't know if it's finished yet because they haven't really said when it was coming out. Just we know that it's coming out in 2019, so it's definitely still in development, but it's coming out exclusively for the PlayStation 4. It is something that I'm very interested in. It just looks so awesome. There is a story mode that will be with it, very reminiscent of what they did with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Hopefully there's an autoplay mode that you could just, like every other Arc System Works game that they came out with, except for that one, where you can just read the dialogue or just watch it instead of just keep tediously hitting a button. It's the only pet peeve I got about Dragon Ball FighterZ is that they don't add a autoplay mode. There's no understanding of why they didn't add that on to that game, but that's here nor there. It's a minor problem at best. But speaking of Kill la Kill, there's nothing stating that that's going to be coming out anytime soon, but we know it's in development of that as well. They're doing something similar to this in Dragon Ball FighterZ. So hopefully we'll get more news on that in the future as things follow up from there. A game that I saw on the Nintendo eShop as well, I'm very interested in. This game called Dragon Dogma Dark Horizon. It's coming out April 25th in Japan, which means it's probably going to come out April 25th in the US as well. This very much looks like a game that, in the essence of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I believe you take control of 4 different characters. Just the open world aspect of it. It looks very much like Breath of the Wild. The art style is different. It has a textured art style, much like Skyrim, games like that, Infinity Blade, stuff like that. So it looks really, really good and really, really interesting. I am looking forward to seeing more footage. There should be a trailer out for it, maybe the Japan version of the trailer. But if you're a fan of the open world action RPG style, like Breath of the Wild, go out of your way to check that out because it looks really, really good. And I'm expecting to see more from this. This might be something I might be interested as well. What I am really interested here is a game called Blazing Chrome, which I recently read up on Game Informer, the recent issue of Game Informer magazine. This interests me a lot. In fact, so much so that I am trying, cross your fingers, I'm reaching out to the developers, Joy Masher, who created this game, which is a reminiscent game, blatant reminiscent tribute to Contra. Everything about this game is very Contra, but it's their own spin of it, their own character design development. This actually looks like a better version of the Super Contra, what you saw in the NES. Some added features, some new playabilities, some new weapons, and the hub there's a hub on there now that lets you select different weapons. You'll be able to control mechs and everything. It looks very fast-paced, action-packed. It looks awesome as hell. I hope that I could get in touch with somebody that could come on the show to talk about that more on air, but I am so looking forward to this. It is coming out very soon in 2019. There's no actual date for it, but I will keep an eye on that, and hopefully I can get in contact with them. It is scheduled to come out on PC, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch, so definitely look out for Blazing Chrome. Look, I'm guaranteed it looks awesome. You got to check that out. Last bit of news I want to talk about is, of course, NT Creates. Shout out to my people over there in Japan putting it down together. NT Creates Dragon Mark for Death is coming out January 31st. I believe it should be out for both Japan and U.S. I am definitely sure of that because a friend of mine, Matt Papa, works for there. He's been on the show before. And he's been on the show to talk about Assura Striker Gunvolt 1 and 2, which is one of my favorite games of their franchise. But this looks like in the essence of Assura Striker Gunvolt as well. If you played that game, which is like a Mega Man 2D side-scrolling style game, retro style game, in the breadth of the Super Nintendo, this looks absolutely awesome. This is kind of like PlayStation 1 2D scrolling because the frame rate and animation and graphic style is a little bit more up. Like even Super Nintendo couldn't go to this level. So this looks like an upgrade to the PlayStation 1 style of 2D scrolling with these sprites and such. So this one is very much a whole new different aspect. You know, while it is a 2D side-scrolling, you will have control of 4 different beings, different characters, and each one of them have their own abilities and such. It looks really awesome. I've been waiting for this to come out. It's been advertised everywhere. I know Matt Papa has been like traveling to E3 to like every single gaming convention and exhibit that you could possibly go to promote this game. I am looking forward to this, so I will definitely be getting this game, and I will definitely put a review in there, and look forward to that coming out soon. And folks, that will do it for this edition of Select Start. The last bit of news I do want to talk about, because it is in reference to Mark for Death, and it is a segue to the end of the show news that I have, and that is Matt Papa. I just spoke with him before I did the show. He will be on next week. We're going to plan to have him on next week. He's back in Japan. He was here for MagFest, so there was a really great a charity event that he was working with, Mega Manathon, I believe that he was working with, and they raised about over 10,000. So we're going to talk about that as well as the premiere of Dragon Mark for Death, and what should we expect from that, and anything else that NT Creates is working on right now. So he's back in Japan right now, so we'll most likely be talking to him from Japan, which means I will more than likely be doing this at nighttime to his morning. But it'll be no problem. It'll be great to hear from him. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this game is all about and what else they got in store for us in there, because they've been really doing a really great job with their franchise as well. We're finally starting to see some heat coming from them, especially Gunvolt as well. So looking forward to seeing what they're going out to. He's busting his ass out there, so we'll see. Also, some really big news. Another guest that is coming into the show. As you know, we had Jeffrey Thorne, who is the writer, producer, showrunner for Avengers Black Panther's Quest. It is actually returned to for its second season, and had a really, really good first episode of the second season. It was an hour episode, one of them which had Spider-Man on there, which we talked about in our interview last time. So that was both a really good episode. It seems to connect to the Spider-Man series that they have on Disney XD as well. So it was awesome to have them there, but I got another guest coming in the realm of Black Panther's Quest, and that is none other than Daisy Lightfoot, who plays Shuri on Avengers Black Panther's Quest. She has agreed to be a guest on the show very soon. We're working on the details of when she's going to be on. Hopefully it'll be pretty soon, and we get to talk about her experience on the show, just being able to work on this project alone and having this opportunity to be in such a quality Marvel project right now. So we're going to have her on the show as well. I'm looking forward to talking with her and everything that's going on in her world and how she got into it. And we'll get to pick her brain of her experience in the world of Hollywood as well. So stay tuned for that and much, much more, people. My last things I got to say, of course, I said I was going to keep talking about this, and this is just not a one-time thing. We need to talk about this all the time. We need to condition this on our minds. We got a lot of fans out there who may have, are still human. They're fans of all things anime, comics, movies, and games. They're still human. And these humans go through situations that may be traumatic. And we need to talk about this. We need to bring awareness to this. We need to help these people. We need to be the heroes that they need. So people, I am doing the Protect and Save awareness campaign right now. A lot of you on the A.C.M.G Facebook group have seen it. If you go on my Instagram page at Xavier Josiah, I have it up there too, one with a Jessica Jones, deal. And if Marvel has anything to say about it, I am willing to, take the helm of this, because I got friends who have been in dire situations and they've been harmed in some form or fashion. Maybe it was from sexual assault, maybe it was from abuse. And just recently, since September, I've had these stories of people coming out because I've been speaking out on it. And I've had family members who've been, in situations like this with some really bad people. And we got to stop ignoring this. We got to stop it. We really need to, if we truly believe that we're an evolution of society, then we really have to act like that. We have to condition ourselves. We have to evolve. We have to educate ourselves more into situations. We have to use critical thinking. I know a lot of people don't know what critical thinking is, but look it up, because it is a great thinking tool to making great decisions and to think thoroughly. And do your research and do your homework on every aspect. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But in order to truly find out, you can't just assume. Just based on a headline, just based on what people say, you got to do your homework. You have to do your homework. You got to read the signs. You got to learn about the signs. You got to know the signs of when people are in danger or when people are doing wrong. And when they're doing wrong, you can't just sit there and let somebody get hurt or harmed. It could be your daughters. It could be your sons. It could be your fathers, mothers, your friends. You can't just sit there idly by anymore. Put on a mask and become the hero that they need. Protect and save any and everybody that's in harm or hurt. That's all I got to say about that. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, this Sunday we'll be back with a new Talk Time Live Prime show. I'm thinking Godzilla's out. I'll probably review that because we don't have too much news going on or anything really spectacular until next week. Of course, Dragon Ball Super Brawly is coming back. I'm going to be re-upping or reposting the interview with Vic Mignogna as well, because we talked about that as well. So that will be back up on TalkTimeLive.com to make it easier for people to check out. So that is surely there. And I'm going to review that movie. Glass is coming out. The Punisher is coming out down the road. There's so many things coming out next week. There's too much coming out for January for me to cover. It's so much. But all of that's coming out. Punisher's coming out on the 18th as well. It's just all out crazy. Even Reign of Superman is coming, which I believe is next week, on January the 15th to be exact. Unimusha is coming out, so I'll definitely be reviewing that next week. If you guys remember me talking about that, there is just no shortage of fandom going on in January, and we just started. It's just actually almost too much. So it may be to the point that I will have to do even, more podcasts to talk about all of the things that are coming out, because it's just so many of them. So stay tuned for that and much more. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all of it and reviewing all of it and talking about it on the ACMG Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/ACMG1. You could check me out also on Instagram at Xavier Josiah, of course. And just follow us anywhere. We're actually, shout out to a really good friend of mine, old college friend, art friend, a designer as well, Kim Lewis. We've been talking too. She's going to be helping me out, with a lot of the social media aspect and maybe much more down the line as well. So she's a great designer as well. She's worked for a ton of different people in companies, Comcast, NBC, you name it. She's been about it. So I am happy to have her a part of the ACMG crew. She contacted me and was like saying, what do you need? We've always been family. So I'm looking forward to working with her and having her help evolve this in 2019 and, much more from this point on. So definitely stay tuned for a lot of evolution coming from this brand very soon. But other than that, I hope everybody has a great week, and stay tuned for Talk Time Live this Sunday. We're going to be talking all things of our favorite fandoms and much more. So without further ado, definitely check us out. TalkTimeLive.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, plenty of places to find all of us. here at ACMG. So without further ado, all I gotta say is learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here, people. I will talk to you soon. This episode of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.